Hi, I'm Jilly G. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you taco salad. Gluten-free, of course. And it's actually 4 recipes kind of wrapped up into one. So what it will be is taco seasoning to go with our ground beef, which is in my cookbook. The second recipe is a variation on another recipe that is in my cookbook. And then I also have another dressing. So 2 dressings, taco seasoning, and then of course taco salad. We'll put it all together. So 4 recipes in one. And I know it looks like I have a lot going on, but it really comes together so fast. And I don't know about you, but I always like to have salads in the springtime. If you grow lettuces in your garden, it's a perfect way to use those up. But it's also, it's starting to get warmer, and I like to have something that's a little bit lighter. And taco salad is perfect for that. Or any kind of salad, really. And the 2 different dressings that I'll show you today, you don't have to use on taco salad. You could use on other salads as well. So the first dressing that I'm going to show you is an Avocado Cilantro Ranch Dressing. The ranch spices and ranch dressing mixture is from my cookbook, and I'll go over all of that. And then we also add in some other things, an avocado, and of course cilantro. You could very easily make this dressing spicy and add in some jalapenos or something like that and make it a spicy dressing to go with your taco salad. And then one of the easiest things that I find is a large mason jar or a large jar with a lid. Once we mix everything up, it stores really well in a jar, and then all you have to do is just shake it up when you're ready to use it. And one thing about homemade salad dressings, they don't last as long as store-bought ones. So you'll need to use it up, I would say within a week or so, you'll want to use up your dressing. Especially this one that has the avocado. If you don't use it within a few days, it tends to turn a little bit on the brown side. If you're just making the ranch dressing, it will last about a week. But again, the avocado dressing, maybe 3 days. And I feel like I've shown you my salad spinner before, but if you haven't seen it, this is my salad spinner. I'll put a link in the description box, but these are so handy to have around. Of course, not just for lettuces, I actually have my cilantro in here. I just dumped into the bowl. I've already washed my cilantro and I've picked it off of the stems. And then I put it in my salad spinner. When you're chopping herbs and things like that, they're a lot easier to chop when they're dry. But of course you want to wash them. And it's such a fast, easy way to get them dry. And if you don't like cilantro, you could leave this out. I know some people don't really like the flavor of it. Or it tastes like soap to some people. And this is about, I'd say about a cup. And if you didn't want to put it in your salad dressing, you could just leave it like this and mix with your other lettuces and just toss it into your salad as well. But I'm going to give this a pretty fine chop because it's going to go into a salad dressing. You want it to be in smallish pieces. I'm making the dressing by hand today with just my whisk, and then I'll shake it up really good. You could make this in a food processor or a blender and really get everything finely chopped together, but I don't mind if it's a little bit chunky. And that looks pretty good. It's pretty finely chopped. And it will turn your fingers a little bit green. I'm just going to move this aside. And the first thing I'm going to show you is the ranch dressing mix. It's really fast and easy to make. We won't use all of it today. So I'll show you what I do. I've already got some that's made right here. And you could just store it in a jar in the fridge. So I've got a lot of spices in this little bowl right here. I have 3 tablespoons of dried parsley, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion flakes. You could use onion powder if you wanted to. 2 teaspoons of dill weed, 1 teaspoon of dried chives, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. All in there. And now I have a half a cup of dry buttermilk powder. I'll put a link for this below. And then just give this a really good whisk. And with salad dressings, you don't have to make them the day of that you're serving. Sometimes they're better the next day when they've had time for the flavors to kind of marry together. And this is just a little sealable jar. You could just store it in a jar like this if you want to, or a Tupperware container. So what we need for this recipe today is just 2 tablespoons of our mixture. And I'll just set that aside. And then it's always best to use a little funnel. And this might not all fit in my jar, but we'll see. It's actually a perfect fit. There you go, ready-made ranch dressing that can go in the fridge. So that's ready right there. I have 1 avocado. I'm only going to use half of it for this dressing, but then you could save the other half to put on your salad. Or you could use all of it to go in your dressing. Get the right kitchen utensil. And I didn't do a very good job of cutting it exactly in half, so I'm going to use this bigger half for my dressing. I'm going to take the part that I used and stick them back together. That will help this one to not get so brown. Or you could sprinkle it with lemon juice or lime juice. And then I actually do have, about a teaspoon of lemon juice. You could use lime juice if you wanted to as well. And if your avocado is soft enough, you should be able to just mash it up with a whisk or a fork. And then I also have a half a cup of unflavored yogurt, full fat. And then I have a half a cup of milk, and then of course our 2 tablespoons of our ranch mixture, and then my cilantro. And the 1 teaspoon of lemon juice that is in with my avocado. My 2 tablespoons of ranch mix, my half cup of yogurt, my half cup of milk, and my 1 cup of cilantro. As you noticed, I didn't really measure it, I just eyeballed it. Make sure to get it in your bowl. And then just mix this together. You want to make sure to get all of those spices mixed around and that avocado mixed in. After this sits in the fridge, if you notice that it's too thick, you can always thin it out with a little bit of milk. I'm just going to pour it into my jar. Recipes like this are so easily doubled. And you'll see it really doesn't fill up very much, but I like using a bigger jar. It gives me a chance to really shake it up and add something else if I want to. And whenever I use jars like this to store something like salad dressings, I always use used lids. The lids might not be good for canning anymore, but they're still good as a lid. So into the fridge with our first dressing. And then I'm also going to put my little jar with my ranch mix back into the fridge. And in my cookbook, there's a few different recipes to use that ranch mix for. Of course, salad dressing is one of them, but you can also make a vegetable dip or a chip dip, and those are right here in my cookbook. So if you haven't tried those yet, now maybe you will. So bring back our cutting board, my napkin trick. So for my next salad dressing, this is going to be a Catalina salad dressing. And this one is easily made right inside this quart jar. It won't fill it up all the way, but I find it's better to use a little bit bigger of a jar, again, than a pint jar. You can really shake it around when you want to use it. So the first thing to go in is 1 cup of olive oil. If you have a different oil that you prefer, use that. And then I have a half a cup of red wine vinegar, 1/4 cup of honey. And I actually don't have a sugar equivalent to give to you. I've never made this salad dressing with sugar before. I've always just used honey. But I would say if you're going to use sugar, maybe just add in a little bit and see what you think. And then if it's not to your taste, add a little bit more. But I find the honey is easier to work with in a salad dressing because it seems to dissolve a lot better than sugar does. I have a half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. I don't even know how to say it. I'll put a link below. In there, a half a cup of ketchup. Again, this is whatever ketchup is your favorite. Be very careful. I prefer a more natural ketchup, so it tends to be a little bit darker in color and it doesn't have extra added sugar either. And now for my spices. And don't worry that this looks like a science project. It will all come together when we start whisking it together. But it really does kind of look like a science project right now. So my spices for this is a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of dried onion flakes. Again, you could use onion powder. 1/4 teaspoon of dried mustard, 1/2 teaspoon each of salt and pepper, 1/8 of a teaspoon of celery seed, 1/8 of a teaspoon of chili powder, and 1 teaspoon of paprika. And very carefully, I'm going to use my funnel to dump in my spices. And then with a whisk, give it a really good mix. And you really want to make sure that honey is getting dissolved. And also with any vinaigrette, after sitting in the fridge, it will kind of separate just a little bit and even solidify just a little bit. But once you shake it up really good and leave it sitting out for a few minutes, it comes back together. I'm going to use my spatula just to make sure all that honey is off the bottom of the jar. If you were using fresh onion and fresh garlic with this, you would really want it finely chopped, which you could put in a blender or a food processor. Such a nice color. And with most things like this, if you want to add more salt and pepper, you can. So there's my Catalina dressing. I'm going to stick this in the fridge with the other one. So I've got my lettuce and I've got some little small tomatoes. Of course, you could use big tomatoes. And then I've got some little peppers. You can really put whatever kind of vegetables that you like with your taco salad. I'll show you more of what will go in it, but this is just the things that need to be cut up. And then I also have, about a half a cup of frozen corn that I'm going to mix in with my ground beef. And I have a pound of ground beef right here. I'm going to turn the burner on about medium high. And then I have a splatter guard. And then for the taco seasoning, this is the other recipe that is in my cookbook. And what you'll need for this, I have 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of onion flakes or onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, a 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, it can be smoked or sweet, 1½ teaspoons of cumin, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. And for 1 batch of taco meat, which is 1 pound of ground beef, all of these spices, and then a 1/4 cup of water. This is so easily made into a very large batch and also stored in a jar in your cupboard. This one doesn't need to be stored in the fridge. The reason the ranch dressing needs to be stored in the fridge is because it does have that buttermilk powder, and that needs to be refrigerated. But this one can just go into your cupboard. I love making my own spice mixes like this. Then I know for sure what goes into them. My ground beef is heating up, and while that's heating up, I'm going to cut up my little peppers and my little tomatoes. You could eat these whole if you want to. I don't really like chasing them around with my fork, so I prefer to cut them in half. And then I'll just put them right back into my bowl. So some of these bigger ones I'll probably quarter. And because my knife and my cutting board have cilantro, my tomatoes will now have cilantro on them as well. While my ground beef is cooking, I'm just finishing cutting up my peppers. And I take out the seeds You could also add in a jalapeno at this point if you wanted to and cut that up to go on your salad. There's my tomatoes and my peppers. Once your ground beef is almost all the way cooked, just like this, stir in your spices. Give it a really good stir. Make sure those spices are all mixed around. Pour in your 1/4 cup of water and let this simmer. It will thicken a little bit because of that cornstarch. Add in your corn. The corn doesn't really need to be cooked, it just needs to be heated through. It was frozen. If you feel like you need to add a little bit more water, you can. If you notice, my cast iron pan, it really evaporates that water fast. And I haven't washed my lettuce yet. What I like to do, bring over my salad shooter. What I like to do is cut it up, wash it really good in the basket of my salad spinner. I think I called it a salad shooter. Wrong appliance. Anyways, I cut up all of my lettuce and then I wash it really good and then salad spin it to dry it off. I know some people like to tear their lettuce, but I find it's easier to cut it. And then this is just kind of a reddish green lettuce. And then I've got a small head of romaine lettuce. I really like the combination of both. You could use spinach, you could use whatever you want. Stir your taco meat. I just break off a few leaves. And then you can store the rest of this in the fridge. It seems to last a little bit longer without cutting off the stem. And then I usually stack them all, go right down the middle. And I always wait and do my lettuce last because I don't wash it first. And then you don't have to wash your cutting board. And because my romaine lettuce is a little bit bigger, I usually go straight down the spine. And then I'll go on either side. I don't know about you, but when I'm eating a salad, I like to be able to put it on my fork and put it in my mouth. Sometimes if you have really big pieces of lettuce or really big pieces of vegetables, it's not as enjoyable to eat, but that's just me. And then just spin your lettuce. And then I usually see how much water is in the bottom. Dump it out. And then I usually spin it again. Nothing to it. Nice and washed and dried. Spilling all over. And then I just store it in the fridge. In fact, you can close the lid here. So here's our salad dressings right from the fridge. Because I just made them, this one hasn't separated a lot. But after being in the fridge, oh, say tomorrow, you'll notice it will separate more and it will need a really good shake. I've got some sliced olives. Do you ever have the end of a tortilla chip bag? These are perfect to go on a salad. I've got some shredded cheese, kidney beans that I've rinsed and drained, Of course, my peppers and my tomatoes, my half of an avocado, my taco meat with the corn, and my lettuce. Salads are one of those things that you can really add whatever you like. Towards the end of summer, when things are really starting to come in from the garden, you can add a lot more in. Or of course, whatever you like to put on a salad. But make sure it goes well with the taco seasoning and of course your dressings. And if you don't like ground beef, this taco seasoning goes really well on chicken. You could make a chicken taco salad. You could also do shredded beef instead of ground beef, or ground turkey. Really whatever you like to go with this taco seasoning. I'm pretty sure everybody knows how to assemble a salad, but usually what I do is I start out with my lettuce. I don't have any spoons. A little bit of our ground beef and taco seasoning and corn. Some of our chopped tomatoes and chopped peppers that are all the same colors. You could use black beans, some sliced black olives, some cheese. I usually sprinkle that in the middle. Some of my crunched up tortilla chips, also in the middle. And before the dressing, my almost half of an avocado, and I just slice it both directions and then scoop it out with a spoon. Usually wait till almost the end for the avocado, just so it doesn't turn brown. Here's our cilantro avocado ranch. I know most people wouldn't use two different dressings on a salad, and that's just fine. Just sprinkle a little bit on this side. Give my Catalina a little bit of a shake. And if you're like me, I actually prefer to put my salad in a much bigger bowl and stir everything together. But this way, I can taste both of my dressings. Make sure to get a little bit of everything. There's my Avocado Cilantro Ranch. It's really good. If you like avocados and you like ranch and you like cilantro, it's a really good salad dressing. You could add in jalapeno and make it spicy, or you could add in jalapenos with your ground beef. Now let me taste my Catalina dressing, which is actually one of my favorites. Such a great salad dressing. Just a little bit of sweet from the honey. That red wine vinegar is really good too. Such a great weeknight dinner. It really comes together so fast. And it makes nice leftovers too. You could serve this with chips and salsa. You could serve it with tortillas and make maybe a lettuce wrap. Or just as is. It's such a great weeknight dinner. Or Taco Tuesday. Let me know if you like black olives with your tacos. Growing up, we always had black olives with our tacos. So why not have it with a taco salad? Maybe you've never tried it before. It's really good. You could add whatever kind of cheese that you like. I know they make flavored tortilla chips. Some of those flavors might go well with a taco salad. I prefer just plain, but do what you want. And if you've never tried corn with your taco meat before, you should. It's really good. And you could also add in the beans to your ground taco meat. You don't have to serve them on the side like I do. It's the nice thing about salads. If you serve it buffet style like this, everyone can add whatever they want. You could also have some onions, green onions, more cilantro to sprinkle on top. Possibilities are endless with a salad. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.